Let me ask you something. Have you ever waited for something so long, prayed for it? To God, to the universe, or whatever is that bigger power above you, for something, and it actually happened. It was given to you just to realize in a really short time that whatever was given to you, whatever you asked for because you desired it at some point in time, left you with a little bit of regret, a little bit of unhappiness, a little bit of doubt, and brought you more grief than it should have. I'm sure we've all been there at some point in time or the other. And this is exactly why I'm here today, to share my ups and downs with manifestation. Everything that I ever desired, everything that I manifested, everything that somehow left a bad taste in my mouth after some time because it did not accomplish the fulfillment that I was looking from those things. Hi, I'm Tejal, and I'm here to just share my story, the story of how I came to manifestation, the various stages of manifestation that I went through, and my experiences, my learnings, how I got to where I am. So stay connected. The year was 2001, and I was supposed to travel to London, a 24-year-old who had never stepped outside of the country on an international trip. I'm sure you can resonate if you've ever been 24, young, excited. There's that terror of the unknown. But then there's that spark that keeps telling you, oh, this is exactly what I wanted. This is just how I had imagined it. So I had all of those things going on, the butterflies in my belly, the excitement in my heart, everything coming to fruition. It didn't come just like that. When I applied for the visa for the first time, I was so excited. I missed out a few documents and the visa got rejected. And I was like, oh my God, you can't play with me like Little did I know that just on furnishing those documents, my visa was definitely going to come through, right? And it did because I had wanted it so badly. The intent was so pure and it happened. Just as I was about to leave the city to get onto the flight, one of my friends came over and as his parting gift, he handed me a book and he said, just give it a read. It's magical, is all he said. I said, okay, the name of the book was The Secret. Not having any better plans once I boarded the flight, a little bit of boredom set in after all the new excitement of being on a flight, having television inside the flight, browsing through some movies and all that. Before I reached Heathrow, I managed to complete that entire book. I read about Esther Hicks' stories of the law of allowing, and how she practiced it. I read Jack Canfield's power of repetition and visualization on how he made his first 100K possible. I used a lot of the techniques that we talked about, starting with the principle of ask and then receive, the techniques of gratitude, how expressing gratitude can bring immense amount of change in you, just being appreciative of things that you already have. And as I learned and started to practice this, things started showing up just as it was promised. I got myself in and out of various situations with just practicing the law of attraction. I got in and out of jobs and a lot more things that I managed to do. I managed to heal people around me just with prayers and thought and intention. And then I also saw that every time I set a target date, right, things would happen by that time. And then being a babe in that entire journey, I was having a lot of fun, but then I would set conditions and then smarter conditions to make things possible for myself. And not just that, the excitement was so much that when I spoke with people, I shared this with them as well. I shared it with my mother, and she happened to become a much quicker manifester than I was. But we'll share that story later. The story is about me and my journey. I'm sure at some point in time, I'll let you know how she does her manifestations and how things have worked for her. But here's what I was missing. I was acting like, the stage 1 manifester. So what would happen is sometimes I would place an order, it would arrive as promised, and then after some time I would sit down and think, could this have been better? And as human beings, we are so fickle-minded that by the time things started to manifest, sometimes I was being a little ungrateful. Sometimes I was like, oh, I wish I had wished for something better. Oh, I wish I had, been smarter with my wishing and my desires and my affirmation. And I did them, religiously did them. All of this was fun, but then I also started seeing that from time and again, certain manifestations would go away. Like the salary hike would come, but so would expenses. The new job roles would come. I've always been very ambitious. The new job roles would come, but then so would the challenges along with them to keep sustaining, to keep showing up without realizing that these were actually my moments of growth. Challenges, the contrast, it has to show up. But I did not know that. I just thought this is a game and I'm playing it right and I shouldn't have tensions. I'm a good person. I do a lot of good for others. So I shouldn't be facing challenges into it. I'm trying to do your work. I'm trying to do God's work. And I was humbled. I was humbled in ways that I couldn't imagine. A few years later, as I kept on growing on this path of manifestation, I did not realize that what people called manifestation, I did not really know that word, so to say. I was doing it all along, but I labeled it differently. I called it answer to prayers, right? That all my prayers get answered. I was so happy about that. I'm so lucky. I would go around walking like that. And just like with everything that you are not grateful for, you will have to start losing those. You will start losing people. You will start losing friendships. Relationships will change their roles. And that is exactly what was happening. I lost sight of what this journey was all about. It only became more accomplishments after accomplishments after accomplishments. The accolades came. A lot of good work came out of it as well. Fast forward to almost 18 years. Things kept happening. Life kept happening. Relationships came and went. Friendships came and went. And as I grew along the way, there came a point when my life came to a standstill. And it was happening. It was happening over the years. Because in this rush of accomplishing and doing things, constantly being on the go, what I was not realizing was the burnout that came with being a full-time mom, handling a marriage, handling a job, handling my career, and looking after the family. I donned so many hats. Multiple roles in the organization. All the good work as it kept on flowing. The point of standstill came a little before COVID because I was juggling all of this. I was trying to establish my own patisserie, so I learned and picked new skills continually. I learned more about voluntary. I learned more about chocolatry. Food has always been my passion, and I gave it my all. This is over and above everything that I was doing. Hence came the burnout because I would pride myself that, I could just sleep for 5 to 6 hours and get going. My health took a toll. And just before COVID, the senior leadership at the bank had to sign up for this mental health first aider program. And I took up that. And that is when I entered my stage 2 of my manifestation journey. What did I do through this? This was the longest phase of my life. And when I say longest phase, I mean, if I look at the last 25 years of having known about manifestation, these were the years of my deepest trials. Because until then, life was flowing, so was I. Like I said, I told you about the babe stage of my manifestation, right? The stage 1, where ask and you will receive. And I was doing that, losing it as well. But stage 2 was when I did the most amount of deep work. It put me through so much. And when I say so much, all the laws came to play, all the universal laws. And I wouldn't say I was tested. I would say that I grew through each one of them, right? Because when stage 2 arrives in your manifestation journey, when I became a mental health first aider, I identified with people in the organization who were undergoing so many mental health challenges. Through the process, it took me onto a journey of learning more about trauma, about depression, about picking up hypnotherapy for trauma healing. And that is where an entire ocean of changes started coming my way. And these changes this time were not just for myself. This was the unbecoming of me. This was the unravel. It was healing that happened through undergoing therapy myself and then learning about hypnotherapy, learning about regression therapy, learning more about trauma, about PTSD, CPTS, learning about the inner child work, learning more about the adverse childhood experiences and how they shape you, learning more about trauma healing, learning about EFT, CBT, empty chair, learning about how to cure phobia, how to overcome fears, anger management, learning about how you can clear or erase or reframe your old patterns, your old beliefs, the family construct, learning more about generational trauma that gets passed on from so many previous generations. And you carry it all in your bones, in your DNA. How to heal that, how to work on that, about past life regression, about family constellations, about energy work, about so many things. And as you are learning, you are healing. When you are in therapy yourself, you're of course healing. But then also when I started working with my clients, the case studies I did, the clients I work with, through every one of their healing, something in me healed again. And I'm super, super grateful for all those teachers who came on this journey to guide, to teach, to help me elevate, to grow from where I was to where I am today. The circle of friends I made, the circle of therapists. I also underwent I'm an ICF certified coach. So having undergone that, my group of coaches that I still have, learning from each one of their rich experiences. I'm so grateful for all the time that they were vulnerable, how we could just be ourselves in that space, for holding that space for us to elevate, to heal, to learn. Super, super grateful. If I never ever mentioned this, I'm really grateful for what you've taught me, for the part that you've played in my life and in my journey. As we were completing the hypnotherapy learnings, my teacher had mentioned that now you will realize that your learning, your elevation will get accelerated. And at that point in time, I did not quite understand that. I thought maybe I'm going to walk in the knowledge of what I already. But that opened up gateways to multiple other modalities that we talk, right? The breath work that goes in, coherent breathing, various forms of meditation, through chakra healing, through the pineal gland activation, signing up on a parallel spiritual path that it took me on to learn the 10 Mahavidyas, to learn about Shiv Sadhana, to learn about the Bhairav Sadhana, to surrender through Sadhguru's various programs like the Inner Engineer or the Shambhavi Kriya, how the mind, body, and spirit all needs to align. And the healing is not just physical or mental, it's spiritual as well. It is also energetic. It is also everything that you think, feel, believe. Everything, every piece of it has to undergo an unwrap. And this stage 2 was the hardest because it did not just change my perspective on my healing journey. Because time and again, I would sit down with the question, why me? Is everybody around me putting in that much of effort? Is everyone around me going through so much in terms of challenges? And that is when I got my answers, especially on the spiritual path. The intellectual path taught me about neuroscience. It taught me about psych architecture. It took me onto the journey of how your memories work. Your body and your mind memories both work differently. How mind memories are beautifully protected by your brain, but your body memories don't really go away that easy. Through all the psychosomatic therapies that we did, through the nervous system regulation, through the emotional regulation, it has been a continuous journey of learning and unlearning. And while the learning and unlearning was happening, so were the various other laws, the universal laws that we spoke about earlier. They were also playing their part. The law of cause and effect, the law of allowing, the law of polarity, the law of rhythm. What goes up will go down. If you've asked for riches, if you've asked for wonderful relationships, if you've asked for health, all the things that matter to you, it means that to have that, the universe will start creating space within you, around you. What did that mean? That meant losing some friends, letting go of a few relationships that were dragging me down. And sometimes I thought it wasn't even a conscious effort. It was just something that was happening. And because I set an intent that I want to be in the best of my health, I want to be fit, I went to a point when I was hospitalized. I've never been hospitalized. I'm someone who I've always taken pride in the fact that my immunity is very good. I don't fall sick very easily. The belief systems were completely altered. I had to let go of all my old belief systems. The ones that I was not ready to let go of, I still continue to shed them. And as the space was being created, still not knowing exactly why everything is happening. That's happening for my benefit, for what I set out as an intention, for all my desires, my wants. There were moments that I broke down. There were moments of immense fear, immense pain. And it's a journey. Like I told you earlier, today, as I sit in stage 3, I know that I can now make manifestation happen again like that. I'm very mindful of how I make it happen though. I don't set time frames. I just surrender to the universe once a desire comes forth. I sit down in prayer. I have my conversation with the Almighty. I've learned how to pray differently, not just ritualistic prayers, but just sitting with myself, ensuring that my North Star is always that light, ensuring that my belief system now lead the way. Manifested change in job roles, manifested the salary hikes that I wanted while the world is not really getting them. Not that I'm happy for them. The point is that you can change your life too, right? Limitations will always show up. The ceiling does not exist. And that limitless power is you yourself. You can turn things around immensely just by the power of intent, the power of belief in yourself and in the Almighty. Or you can call it the universe, whatever it is that you surrender to. So in this stage 3, I realized that the stage 3 of manifestation for me is all about identity work. It's all about believing who I truly am. It is in walking in the knowing, defining my own truth statements for myself, showing up as the leader that I am, complete surrender to freedom, to radical self-leadership, and actually walking the talk. It's no longer just words on the wall. It's more about reminders that I set to myself, the belief that I walk in that I'm successful, I'm happy, I'm much more calmer. And when I manifest from this place now, I don't experience the push and pull of desperation. There are no timelines to be met in my manifestations. And this was my journey so far, and I will continue to share a lot of my experience. And that was the purpose of this video. The video was for me to connect with you, and if there was anything in this that resonated, that made you feel, oh, that's me, then I invite you to come share your thoughts, your journey with me. Even if you just want to join me in this entire adventure of experiences and how these experiences each teach you, give you information for what needs to happen next, inside you, around you, outside of you. I think my work will be done here. So come join me. I invite you to be a part of this life of mine, this journey of mine, as we continually unravel the various stages of manifestation and then how to manifest through the embodiment of your new identity, to walk in a consciousness that is purely yours, to be truly aligned to who you are, to your voice, to your true being. You don't need anybody else to define what you can and cannot do. Trust me. In a lot of love and gratitude, I let you be with this video. Go ahead and share and subscribe if you'd like. Or otherwise, like I said, the ceiling does not exist. You are limitless. You're beautiful. You're amazing, just the way you are. And every part of your journey has a reason. It's just playing its own part. Surrender to that part. Surrender to that experience without getting too attached to it. That's my 2 cents. I will be seeing you in the next video. So until then, keep smiling and take care.